Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kiki Smith Archipati. I'm the acting director of the Association for Cultural Equity. And I want to thank you all for joining us tonight for another installment of Tradition Talks, our virtual speaker series, which highlights individuals who are approaching cultural heritage documentation in creative and impactful ways. I'm joined tonight by former ACE Director and President Emeritus, Dr. Anna Lomax Wood, in welcoming tonight's guest, Donato, or Dominic, as I know him, Raimondo. Dominic is a former lost boy of Sudan, one of the 16,000 orphaned young men who fled their villages in South Sudan during the Civil War, walking hundreds of miles to the border of Ethiopia and Kenya after rebel armies attacked their homes. He spent 10 years in a Kenyan refugee camp before resettling in the United States. And since his arrival, he's devoted himself to sharing and preserving his cultural traditions. Dominic and Anna, thank you so much for being here. Some years ago, Anna conceived a program at ACE which provides training and support for those whose expressive culture is undocumented and endangered to record and archive their traditions for local use. This project for the program originated in conversations between Anna and Dominic, so I'm going to hand this over to them to continue that discussion. And just so you know, if anyone has any questions, just put them in the chat and Dominic and Anna can answer them at the end of the conversation. All right, so over to you two.
Thank you, Kiki,
Thank you, Kiki.
for the wonderful introduction. I highly appreciate that. And apart from being the lost boys of South Sudan, among the 16,000 young men who left their country due to the war, I would also want to add that I'm originally from the Dinka tribe. This is one of the 64 tribes in South Sudan, very small. And this tribe also mostly practice farming, small-scale farming, as well as they do a little bit of cattle keeping. And so that's where I, was brought up with in that background culture, which I will continue to share as we dive through. And I would like to, have Dr. Anna would say something before we engage into.
Well, I will just say that I met Dominic about, I don't know, it's been a long time, 8, 10 years ago. And I followed him throughout his, he moved from the East Coast to Salt Lake City and to be near a brother. And I've kind of followed him throughout his education. Not too long ago, he finished a degree in anthropology and small business. Yeah.
Yes, small
Because
business degree. Yes.
so the small business which is relevant to all of this, right? It's making, Dominic, go ahead.
Yes, become more very popular, especially, Anna would like to get back at least to give a clear background of, how I, develop this culture in me. At a very young age back home, as I said earlier on, we raise cows in Didinga land, and that's how when I was at a very young age, I started seeing our parents, keeping these cows, raising cows, and every child back home, they want to become like, their parents. So I was also wanted to become like my parents, and therefore, but the only way was just to then start really looking into some of the traditional arts whereby, the boys and I usually go out, to the riverbank and collect the clay, and then started, molding the, things that like a cow. And so that we can really become, ready when we get to a certain age to take care of the really cows. And so that was the tradition, but then I never knew that tradition stuck in my mind. And when I left the village, I carry with me and stayed 10 years in the refugee camp. And then when I came to United States, I started, making clay cows, and that's where everybody started, becoming very interested, and they asked me to start speaking in schools and teach, the students how to make the clay cows, and also tell them the importance of the cows in our culture. And so it became very popular, and I could remember very well that I share with you, when we met and when we got to know each other for the last 8 to 10 years, as you said. I remember we spoke about, a lot of, topics, based on the culture. And I want not, I would like you to jump in and contribute into that, and then we can expand, share deeper.
Well, I did, early on, Dominic was studying accounting. Can I say that, Dominic?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it wasn't very successful. He didn't seem really excited about it. But he used to tell me stories about his life in South Sudan, and one of them was so beautiful. And he told me a story about how when a boy comes of age, he is given a cow. I guess he's given his own cow and gives it a name. And why don't you continue from there?
Yes, and absolutely. I remembered, I shared with you exactly that, and that's one of the reasons why I started singing the bull song in most of the places, even in most of the major media houses, around the world. And so I remember my uncle gave me a bull at a very young age to take care of. And unfortunately, because of the war, I did not able to have that, bull for long. But however, most of this, culture, as I told you the other time, we, sometimes you will really, really, really have that close relationship with with your bull. And then, sometimes when you compose that song, and sing, everybody in the village will know you by that, song. And then, and apart from the song composition, you will also, give a name to a bull. And so people will call you by that name, and your name that was been given, either by baptism or just by, by the parents. People will forget about that, but they will call you based on your clay, with your
Really? But I
names.
didn't know
Yes.
that. So what
Yes.
was an example of a name, for example?
All right. So, for example, most of the names that are given to the bulls by different people, it's based on the color of the cow. So if your bull has a yellow-headed, color, so then that name will associate that kind of, color of the cow. And so, and also some of them, they are also given the name based on the horns. So if your bull has a really interesting horn that look funny and very gorgeous, then you get the name that, describe that, horn design. And so, and what that does, it gives you the, the pride, it gives you the power, you become popular, and people give you respect. And so that's the essence of, really having these, cows in leading a society. And so they are very important. As I can also add that the more cows you have in our tribe, the more popular you will become. And for example, as a young man as I am, if I have more cows, then if I need to marry someone's daughter, easy like that, because people will, their family will just say, yes, that gentleman is very responsible. He will take care of our daughter. Let's give him. There will be no rejection. And therefore, that's one of the fun thing. And, I can go on and on, Anna, but, to really bring into a different perspective of what the cows have contributed also as we speak, maybe if I can just contribute briefly, is that because those who don't have cows, then they end up going to a neighboring tribe and then raid the cows, and the chance of them maybe be life is very limited, or they will just come and then with those cows that is stolen, and they will find their favorite wife. And so I wanted to add on top of that. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a beautiful story, Dominic.
Mm.
And you also told me how the cows would respond to their name and their song and get excited. I think you told me that. Maybe you were just making that up.
Yes,
Did they
absolutely.
really?
Yes, and this is just like really powerful, relationship and connection with the cow. So when you just call a cow by the name, it comes. And then when you really start singing your song and become, around the cow will just come towards you and make that sound. And then you call the bull by the name, and then maybe you can also praise the bull by the name, and it will even become more exciting, and therefore that is just, yeah. And so for me also, when I started, maybe having that kind of emotional praising of the bull, most of the people also, they become too emotional, and therefore they become so courageous because of that. And when there is enemy coming around, they will become very courageous and confident, and they can face the enemy without fear, because they gain that courage from their bull praising. And so when I praise my bull and my bull is there, please don't come closer to me, because I am in a different level of mindset.
Goodness,
Yes.
that is
So
so
yes,
interesting. That is unbelievable. So
yes.
and then he told me how when all the boys would go at the end of the day, the young men, they would go with their cows and their bulls to the river, and they'd be each singing their own song. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yes, yes. We drive the cows after they, graze in the morning, and then in the afternoon they relax, and they just, evening we take them to the river. And, that's where we will just relax and drive the cows to the river. So then, sometimes the cows, from different people started, meeting together, and they bulls would maybe sometimes fight each other, in the meeting water point. That's what I was going to say. In a water point, they will fight each other. And so, yes, and those are just, that's one of the, our culture, Anna. And let me drive you back to a different perspective of the Dinga culture. That is a music and dance. And music and dance. And so, Anna, I want to bring in, I know we discussed about the clay, the cows in our tribe, and we shared so much. And then I remember I shared with you also the Didinga traditional songs and Didinga traditional music and dances. So maybe if you have any question on that, Anna, before I jump in, if there is any specific
Yes,
question
I have two
on
questions.
that.
And one is,
Yes, sure, absolutely.
when you went around in your when you were still living in your village,
Yes.
maybe even at Kakuma camp, um, did you hear a lot of did you hear singing in the daytime or anything like that, or was it really quiet?
Uh,
But
yeah,
people were going about their work and whatever.
yeah,
Curious.
and to be honest with you, yes, let me touch on the refugee camp in Kakuma refugee camp. You know, uh, things have changed there. I did not see a lot of, dances and music before I came to United States, because that was due to the stress and frustration and worries of those who are in the camp. They don't know where their families are, whether they're still alive or died.
Right.
And so, and one of the factors also that contributed that was the new environment, because Kakuma is not home for my people. They were just really stranded. They don't know what they were doing there. And also there was hunger. There was no food to eat. That's what contribute also the problem, because back home, when you celebrate, sing and dance, when you are full, when you have enough food in your stomach, and when there's plenty of food. And so that's something that the differences between the refugee camp and back home. And so, yeah, I did not see so much, but Anna, as I shared with you before, and thank you, Anna, and as Association of Cultural Equity, for giving me the opportunity, for training me when I shared with you, Anna, that I'm now switching my major from accounting to anthropology. So the reasons why I wanted, to now change to anthropology is basically to help my community, to help my country, to make sure, the culture that has been there don't, disappear, and not into the danger, but to have somebody like me to document, preserve, and put it in an archive, so that the future generation will be able to come and learn, what, the Dinka tribe was before. And so I just want to bring to our listeners that, Dr. Anna and Association of Agricultural Equity have done an amazing job for my tribe, for my people. Thank you for training me, providing me the training, providing the mentor on how to, do the documentation, recording, operate the very professional cameras, and that enabled me to go back to the refugee camp to meet my people and do so much that I'm going to also share and shortly. So that was amazing. I want to thank you so much, because without that, it would have been very hard for most of the recording that I have. It would have been gone. It would have been gone. But because of the training and the skills and the knowledge and the mentoring that I am receiving from Association of Cultural Equity, has done so much. And so I want to give you the opportunity, Anna. You may have a question, and then I can
Well,
get into
yes,
that.
I thank you for thanking us. I mean, you made a dream come true. I mean,
Mm,
I think that without, I mean, we can have ideas, but without people to realize them, they're nothing, right? So, it just occurred to me that a lot of our disciplines, humanistic disciplines, anthropology and ethnomusicology and so on, have become quite specialized, and they're focusing on one tradition or one aspect of one tradition. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what
mm,
used to happen is that people would take a more holistic view of a culture and go in and document all of its aspects and get all of that written down. So I thought, well, um, that if this could be done now, but by people from that culture, not by outsiders necessarily, that we can provide some help with equipment and training and discussion and how do you do this and all of that, protocols, whatever. Um, and then um, that person would have um, the mission to go and
absolutely.
try to capture um, almost all of the expressive culture that existed there, including, you know, women, children, and all kinds of things that he or she may not even have known about, because sometimes those things are more private. And so so that would be on record for them, and they would also be the owners, right, Dominic?
Absolutely, yes.
Of the
And yeah,
documentation, and not some outside agency.
absolutely. And if I may jump in, Anna, absolutely, you're right, Anna. And that's exactly, what the support that you have offered to me to return back to the refugee camp after my training to go and do the, documentation of the Didinga tribe, culture and tradition. And so therefore it was very, it was, like we said, it was a lot of protocols and process that I have to follow to make sure, people understood on the ground, why I was there and what I'm doing there and for what purpose. And so I want also again to thank you and Association of Cultural Equity for putting all the consent form together and the government, official letter to help me explain, to help me, approach the leaders in the community also. And so it was amazing. And, I started when I was, planning to travel. The first thing I did was to make sure, I reached out to my family and said, I'm coming to the refugee camp to visit, as well as to do some, community documentation and recording. And so I told them I would not be able to do without you. So I need to, engage you and to make sure you reach out to the elders in the community and the leaders to have a meeting, to form a committee that will able to, figure out, how we are going to go through this. And so it was a very good strategic, method that I was, using. So when I went here, the committee was already there, and they told me, okay, the first thing is let's have a meeting. We had a meeting, and therefore I explained to them that I came purposely to come and visit my family, as well as the community. It's been a while, and I'm also coming to, to do some documentation for our, Didinga tribes, music and dance. So that the reason behind is because sometimes I'm here in the United States, I don't have that music to listen to. And that's one of the reasons I said I need to have something, and at the same time to, to really preserve our culture so it doesn't go, it doesn't disappear, because I feel it's in an endangered stage, whereby the new generation start coming in and they all, started forgetting all the beautiful and rich culture. And so I told them I'm here to come and, do documentation in music, in dances, and then also interviewing the elders. And so it was welcomed, and therefore I, planned, the day whereby I had, the leaders in the community mobilizing people, the dancers that they know they usually perform sometimes when they're happy, when there is enough food. So then, we selected the day, and the youth also started, mobilizing the rest, and the day started so beautiful. I was able to see the community performing the Nyakorot dance. This Nyakorot dance is a kind of jumping up and down, while the soloist is singing and the rest of the members, respond. And so women dance separate, in a different group, and then the men in the other side. And the women wear traditional attires, they go to skin. So they make it so beautiful, and it's just amazing. And I say, I'm glad I'm here, to record this, because it was going away. Everybody's like, when you dress on that kind of attires, they say, oh, forget about it. This is an old thing. But they don't know the importance, the essence of that, culture. And so people appreciated, the community back in the refugee camp appreciated so much. They say, oh, thank you so much. We thank God that he never forgotten us. And that was what the elders in the community, said to me. They say, oh, our son came back from United States to come and record and give us a chance to sing and dance our traditional songs that we have not done it for a long time because nobody have provided them the chance, because most of the time people just think of food, think of problems, and they are going through a lot. But that time was the time that they see there was hope in their life and in their culture. And therefore, it was such amazing things. And I may want to say that unless you have an answer, but I want to jump into, what,
May I
I
say something first? May I just say
absolutely,
before
absolutely.
you move away from this, I just
Yes.
want you to tell about the other. I know that you recorded a story, a long history of the Didinga from some elders, and then you also documented a woman's tradition that was really interesting as well. It was beautifully filmed. They were all sitting on a low stool or the ground. I don't remember. They were clapping and singing. What was that all about? Can you?
Yes, Dr. Anna, that was a women, songs uh, that they normally sing, during after they already, have completed the harvesting, of one of the family. This is how they usually do. Back in the village, during the harvesting time or during the cultivation, season, each family will organize, maybe some food, some drinks, and then mobilize every community members to come and help, the family for harvesting or cultivation. And so then, this is like a communal kind of work where people work together. So then this family will get help from the community members, and they will go and take care of the farm. They either, during the harvest time or cultivation. Then they will, enjoy some drinks and food during, in the farm. But then
Mhm.
at the end of the day, in the evening, they will come back to the home, to the house. And women group will sit in a different part, and then the men will sit in a different part. But then, in women group, they will then start singing good songs, singing good song. That's like women songs where they praise either their husbands, or they just really have a good time, or they sing some historical songs that remind them, some events that happen, you know, or, maybe some cultural, things. And so there's so many different, songs that women usually sing separately from men. And so when I went to the refugee camp, that's what the women did. They sat down separately, and they, sang the songs that they really preferred. And that moment I could watch from their faces, and they were so happy. They were so happy because that remind them, how they used to do it back home. But now
Mhm.
they get the chance to do it in the refugee camp. And so it was just uplifting. And I want to say, that's how, my visit back in the refugee camp really impacted their, the community members, life and memories. It's really provoked their memories and helped them feel, you know, our culture is still alive. So
Well, are you planning, excuse me for interrupting, but are you
yes.
planning to return there and film uh more parts of the culture, Dominic?
Yes, yes, Anna. Maybe before I jump into that, I want to also touch
Oh,
on
okay.
the elder that the elders of the elders in the refugee camp that I also interview, because in the community, they recommended me some, elders to go and, interview them. So I interviewed one of, few elders about Didinga culture and Didinga history. And they told me, yes, Didinga believe they came from Ethiopia and they passed through Kenya and then to South Sudan. They went to the mountain. So that's where they live, and now they occupy the mountainous area of South Sudan. Beautiful, very, very rich, very fertile land where yes, where they can, they cultivate and do a lot of things. And so that's now where they ended up. So that was a very, very good. And I was told also we have some Didinga who live in Ethiopia. If I go to Ethiopia, I will be able to find some Didinga who speak Didinga language. And so our history, but I was surprised none of them ended up in Kenya. So we don't have any Didinga group speaking, Didinga language in Kenya. So, but that's something that I got from the elders. Anyway, anyhow, the plan that now, since I went and did all these things to record and then came to United States and did also a lot of editing, a lot of preparation, and everything is there. So this is ongoing work.
And cataloging, right?
And cataloging, absolutely. That was
Do you have that catalog?
Yes, I want also, Anna, to appreciate you for, providing Dr. Thomason to help, in this process, so that, everything was cataloged. We selected a good, clear recordings, and we put together. So the reason behind that is now the next step is to repatriate. I'm now on the process of repatriating these materials that I got from the community, because number one, I want to, return back. That's the plan, to return back and have, a projector, a big projector, and have this recording be seen, watched by the community, so that I can maybe interview them to see what are their feedback, what is the importance, if this is important, or if, what is their view and feedback. So this is the plan that I have. And also I am planning to repatriate also the photos that I captured during the visit, last time, so that they can keep this one for themselves. And remember, this is like a history that can be passed over to the next generation. And so the whole thing is this is an ongoing, work that I am very, appreciative to get the support from ACE. And now this is what I'm going to do, to go and really get the feedback and see what other culture that I did not film in the first visit. I want to go and talk to the elders and let them tell me, this is what you have not recorded, and this is important, this should be recorded. And I'm going to do that as well. And so
I think you should not forget an elder woman too, because the men may not tell you about all that.
Absolutely. Gender balance, I am always very, very, very
You
good
have
at
to
that.
train a young lady or a woman to do some of this
Yeah, absolutely.
filming. Who knows? Do you think?
Oh, yes, yes. Right now, the technology have really improved. And so there is a lot of interest in that. And it's just, the resources, if I have enough resources, that would really capture. And to our viewers, I want to say thank you for all the support. This work, is an ongoing work, and we appreciate your support, your help. Thank you for also, coming to watch and see what we are, hear what we are discussing. And so, yes, I would love to engage, female members in this process, and absolutely, and we will have some of them be trained so that they can also take these skills and do more, not only in the Dinka tribe but also in different tribes. I just want also to bring this also, Anna, that the region that I come from, we have 33 tribes, because we have a region. And this month I was elected as the president of that region, covering all the United States. And so now my work is going to be larger than the one that I had before. I was only focusing on Didinga, but now,
Equatoria, is it called, right?
yes, I am now the president of Equatorian South Sudanese Community Association in United States. They elected me with 88%, votes. And now, I have worked to protect each tribe culture so that those cultures will be preserved. And that's one of my, my pledge to them, that I'm going to protect the culture, that each tribe have.
You know what you could do, Dominic? It just occurred to me.
Yes.
You could cultivate somebody like yourself for other tribes who would be uh, really passionate about their culture like you are, and go and do what you did, or come with you to do what you did. So that would be
Yes, and
great.
yes, that absolutely you're right. And I saw that I was approached when I went to my first visit to Kakuma refugee camp. I was approached by a lot of tribes. And guess what I told them? I said, this is just it's a pilot project. And down the road, we are going to expand as we get more resources, because this is going to be something that's going to even help the country, South Sudan, when we have peace and peace in the country and security. We are going to give proposal and what we have done, to the government and to the people in the communities, so we can also, have it as put in the law. And therefore, this is something bigger, and I want to say that as a president now of these 33 tribes, we are going to, have it even, more exciting, because we are going to do work, as you said, getting more people from different tribes, and then move to work together to accomplish this.
Yeah, well, it's a huge job, so you can't do it all by yourself,
Mm.
Um, and some funds need to be raised for this. Um, I feel like this is really the way to go in terms of um, one of the one really good way to go in terms of preserving, and that's a bad word now these days for academics, but I will say it, and sustaining uh, culture that is just sort of sitting there neglected while people pass on into modernity without any way to remember, because it's an oral tradition. And so we have to have this visual and acoustic documentation of it some way or
Yes,
another.
and
And the best way is to do it, you know, I think, is to have the commitment from inside, not for necessarily for outsiders to come in and do that, although they've done some wonderful things. But it
yeah,
isn't the same because, you know, it's it's not theirs, right?
yeah. Absolutely, Anna. That's the reason why I changed from accounting to anthropology, so that I can dig deeper,
Yeah.
and make sure, all the, all the protocols, followed closely, because sometimes misinterpretation of, things And that's what really concerned me. I read a book, that was written by one of the anthropologists, in 1950s. And, I have some reservations and questions about that. And so I said, okay, I think this is the best way for me to now correct things, and so I'm very, 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 happy that I made that decision of, becoming anthropologist instead of accountant. And
Well,
so,
there are lots of accountants, but there's only one you, you know, and
yeah.
there are not too many people. My
Mhm.
goal is to try to see if, I mean, I'm retired from ACE, and thank God for
Mhm.
Kiki being there at this time. She is doing such a wonderful job.
Absolutely.
But I, if I have a wish or desire, it would be to see that this program, so-called program, would expand a lot. Because now
Absolutely.
I'm seeing from you that it has the potential to spread within itself, you know? Do you think that's a
Absolutely.
possibility?
Absolutely, and that's the reason why we are here to share our, what we have done, how we start, we have started, how what we have done, and what we are going to do. And so that's exactly, you can see the progress. There is bigger things coming up, and appreciate those who tune in and listen to this conversation, because it's very important. Maybe, next time we will talk about different things that, we have done. And one of the goal, and that I want to make sure, with the support of ACE and other people also, to make sure I would able to build a traditional cultural center for the Didinga people in the village, whereby they can then practice, the music and dances and storytelling, and also arts and crafts, traditional arts, whereby they can come all together to motivate them. And so that's one of the big goal that is close to my heart. And that would really motivate, not only the Dinka tribe, but other neighboring tribes and tribes in South Sudan. And so this is something that then we would able to expand and see how we can connect with the, Library of Congress, to maybe preserve some of the work, digitize things, and maybe, big libraries like, one of the libraries in South Africa, even
Yeah,
that's
that's
one.
the
Yeah.
yeah, I can't remember, but it's a very
Yes.
wonderful library. Yeah.
Yes. So, and that's something that's, I have,
Mhm.
plans for, so that this culture that, we're working on recording, preserving, protecting will be, protected and saved in a safe place. So the next generation will be able to come and find it, to do research and to know the history and all that thing. Because sometimes I may save some of the things with me in the computer or in
Mhm,
the
mhm.
USB or
Yeah.
anywhere, but you never know. The nature can destroy it and disappear. So those are some of the plans that I have for this work, and I cannot do by myself.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Um,
and
I know that you spoke earlier to me about holding kind of meetings or discussions with the people there, and even with the refugees here for that matter, about what they will do with this documentation, and also not just, but what it inspired in them, and how they can use it for their benefit. Weren't you talking about that?
yes, I want to say this is something that, you know, not only just we are going to preserve it, but
Mhm.
it's going to help people daily,
Yeah.
throughout the week, throughout the day, throughout the night, every day, because, Anna, most of our people, they are all scattered, they're, in diaspora, back home, anywhere. But now with all this, work that I have started, I have done, and it's there now, people no longer feeling homesick. If
Mm-hmm.
they want music, from their home, they will just able to, find it easily. It's already been recorded and preserved. And that, will answer that, will solve that kind of, loneliness, because sometimes people, you know, become happy when they listen to their own cultural music and dances.
Or
Yes, and I have seen, some of my community members, during weekend, they would able to pull out some of the songs that are recorded and they dance in their living room.
really? Oh,
Yes.
wow, I didn't know that.
And during off day, and that what make my heart so humble. And I say, if this is what can bring from what I have done, then I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop, because then this is what then the new generation will learn from their parents, and then they will know it, and then they will pass it to the next. So this is going to be, you know, this is not going to die. This is going to live forever and forever.
Hmm.
And so that's what this work really play. And we are not talking of just preserving or maybe for research purposes, but it touch people daily, every day. And
Yeah.
so, and also I can see even during the conferences, people put music from the recordings that I did, and they dance. So
Really?
because most of the people here, they've forgotten their songs. They either not even heard before or they don't know. But when they hear then what is has already been recorded, then they just like, because they speak the language, they are able to follow and they can able to learn also. So it become just like so much fun. At the same time, it give them really uh it give them free stress kind
Yeah.
of, yes,
Yeah.
situation. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very hard to go to a new place and not find anything familiar or any, you know, and to find everything that is so different, even though it may be nice and good and whatever,
uh,
and not have anything that corresponds to you.
right.
And I've in my own work, my own small work, I found that when people that people are really happier and healthier when the young people growing up, when they're in touch with these traditions of their elders, even if they're also being more American as well, you know, they can have two things. And it really is mentally healthy for them, you know, socially, mentally, and everything else, because they feel proud and they know who they are and their roots, you know, they know where they came from and they know how to express it. But at the same time, you know, they still partake of American culture. And yeah, so
Absolutely, Anna. You have clearly mentioned all the benefits of having your own culture close to you, and where you can access easily. It just become like a good medicine, for the hearts and for the mind, and and also assurance of, this culture not dying, because any culture without practice, it's gone. It's a done
right.
case. It's a done case. But then when I see, members in the community utilizing this opportunity, singing, putting it on their TVs and dancing and following and then showing their kids. So this is what really encouraged me to do more. And
Yeah,
so, and that is hope for sure. Down the road, you never know. We would approach the South Sudan government and say, hey, this is something that we need to really put it as a national, culture. center in, where we can have people from all over the world, to come and see South Sudanese culture, and we will have tourists there to come and see what, the South Sudanese culture looks like. And
Mm-hmm.
so somebody somewhere have to start, and that person, it's me. Because I have so much passion about the culture. And so, starting from a very young age to this time, I think, it's very impressive to say so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, can I mention a couple of other things about you
absolutely.
that
Yes.
I'm very proud to know you also for many reasons, but Dominic is such a wonderful person. He is also in loco parentis for his three nephews for the past 6 years, I think, something like that.
Yes,
And he
6
has
years.
brought them up, and they're doing extremely well. One was 2 years old, and the others were older. Then he also has four children at
Yes.
Kenya and a
Yes.
beautiful wife. So, yeah.
Mhm. Thank you, Anna. During my introductory remarks, I did not mention, yes, I came from a very huge family. I came from a family, my mom and I have 12 kids, so from 12 kids, I happen to be the last born. And so I have 5 sisters and 6 brothers, including me, 7. And so 12 of us. I still have, uh, you know, 3, 4, okay, 6 of us still alive, and half of us already gone. And so it is amazing, to see coming from a huge family, and now so far I have 4 kids, it's a blessing. And by the way, Anna, I want to also say, to our, listeners, that my first daughter, I asked Anna, with the respect and kindness, I would like to name my first daughter with your name. And Anna, you can share that, Anna, also,
Yes,
So
yes.
yes.
That was the most beautiful thing. And this child is wonderful. She is
Mm,
so intelligent and well behaved and dutiful and
mm,
fun, right?
yes.
Happy treaty, yes.
Happy treaty,
Yes,
yes.
treaty.
Uh, she will be 8 in November. She'll
Oh,
be 8 in November, and she's already just wonderful, full, just the list is endless.
does
So
Faith teach them any of the old songs and things like that?
yeah, this Gen Z, and Gen Z team, they are all in a different level, but Faith usually put, Didinga songs on weekends. And
Mm.
then also there are some videos that also I left, to them, of Nakorot, and they also, listen to them. And so that's, I said, if I the one started, liking the culture, so then I have to pass over to my children also.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. And
You
so
need to
that's,
spend a little more time in
yes.
South Sudan and Kenya, my dear.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I also continue to do it here in Salt Lake City, Anna. Throughout the year, I'm invited by the schools to give, their students, the history of South Sudan, the culture and the arts. And so sometimes I do go to, I work with the Salt Lake City Arts Council. where this is the department that, focus on all different groups, cultures. And so they give, me the platform to share, this, and I'm so privileged, to reach out to, bigger audience, throughout the state. And now I'm known as, the clay boy guy. The clay ball guy. They call me the clay ball guy because everybody now have the clay balls in their offices,
Oh
in
my
their
goodness.
kitchen. There is a competition going on. One person have 25 clay balls from me. So every year they compete who has the more clay cows,
My
because
goodness.
the reason behind that is because in our culture, the more cows you have, the more you become role modeled, you become powerful, you become well-known, influence, and all that. So they want now to be also that, and they want to have that values. So it's amazing.
Well,
It's
I think in
amazing.
your culture, the people who have more share it out to others. Is that true?
Yeah, well,
They don't keep it all by themselves,
yes,
or do
usually
they?
when the elders, when there is a traditional celebration, or if there is anything, in the community, the elders then will come, they will get together, and they will go to one of the person who has a lot of, cows. They usually go at 4 a.m. in the morning and knock the gate, and then they will be open, and they will have a discussion with the owner of the cows, and they say, we need this. These elders, they already know which one they want. So then, of course, they will have negotiation, and the elders will offer, some compensation on that. So normally then, the owner of the cows will never say no to the elders, because then, that it seems to be disrespectful to, the elders. So but then, the owner of the cows, when they give the bull, he will need a female cow, so then the elders will usually give that exchange with that. And so, yeah, for sure, that's, and then maybe to add on top of that also, when you have many cows, other people will always bring their cows to you. They say, hey, would you take care of one of my cow? Because they see you as a very responsible person. And so they
Yeah.
will respect you. Yes.
I just want to ask you one thing. You mentioned that, oh, we're almost at time. You said that the community here does not have elders, and that's a problem. Did you say that, Dominic? They're,
Here in,
they're,
in
yeah,
United States, Anna,
yeah,
we do have few, but they just, they are heading back home,
yeah.
because they don't, it doesn't go well with them. And most of, the elders, they come just get the, what they want, and they return back, they feel much better. But then, yes, most of the generation, we have young generation here in United States only. So
I think it's time now for us to say goodbye.
okay, yeah.
Um, thank you guys uh for having, such a it was a very warm conversation. I really enjoyed it. And thank you all for watching, and those of you who will watch in the future, I thank you in advance. I am really excited for what's going to come with you, Dominic, what's going to come in the future, the work that you're going to do. And I think especially with your new position as Mr. President,
Thank
I
you.
I
Thank you
think
so
I
much.
think your entire community is going to be benefiting from your passion about your home and your culture. So, and a thank you again for
Oh,
agreeing to
thank
do
you,
this
Kiki, for
conversation with Dominic.
giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah, thank you, Kiki, and thank you, and Dr. Anna. Always, when it comes to culture, that's our business.
That's right.
Perfect.
That's
Perfect note to end on. All right.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.